2,000 years ago, the Romans crucified a young Jew from Galilee. His name was Jesus. Today, remarkable discoveries in science, archaeology and history are shedding new light on a real man who lived and breathed, and on the world into which he was born 2,000 years ago. They were turbulent times that turned a young Jewish boy into a revolutionary who changed history.
You don't have to believe in God to be able to accept that there was a flesh and blood man called Jesus who lived in this part of the world and died here in Jerusalem. I lived in this city for more than 5 years as the BBC's Middle East correspondent. It didn't make me religious, but it made me realize that the actions of a human being 2,000 years ago still cast a giant shadow over us, whether we believe or whether we don't.
To prove Jesus really existed, we have to look not to his birth but to his death, one of the best attested facts in ancient history. A first-century Jewish historian called Josephus was just one of 80 sources that confirm Jesus existed. In his History of the Jewish People, Josephus described Jesus as a wise man who worked surprising deeds and who was popular with many Jews and Greeks. He also wrote that Jesus was convicted by leading members of society and crucified by Pontius Pilate. So Josephus confirms it was Pilate, the Roman governor, who sentenced Jesus to death. And, thanks to archaeology, we know where Pilate lived. I travelled 60 miles northwest from Jerusalem to the ruins of Caesarea. It was the seat of Pilate's power, bristling with soldiers and the Romans' latest military technology. From here, they occupied Judea, now part of Israel, and the Palestinian territories. 2,000 years ago, in the time of Jesus, Caesarea was a mighty outpost of the empire. This aqueduct brought fresh water from the north. The restored theatre is now one of Israel's top music venues. There are no obvious remains, though, of the major port built by Herod.
But from the air, you can see the ruins of a lost harbour that's now covered by the sea.
Evidence of the street plan and the remains of buildings has allowed archaeologists to recreate what Caesarea looked like. It was originally built by Herod, the Jewish king, and completed in 10 BC. But the Romans took it over as their headquarters. In the heart of the city was the temple to the Emperor Augustus. From here, Pontius Pilate ruled Judea. Pilate was ruthless. He executed dozens of Jewish rebels. He wouldn't have thought twice about getting rid of a young troublemaker from Galilee. So, the Jewish historian Josephus confirms that Jesus was a real man who lived and died, but that's about it. The best place to find the details of Jesus' life, his mysterious birth and the ideas for which he died, is in the Gospels. When we had to study them at school, I thought they were religious books for religious people. You can't trust them as history, I thought. They were written at least 40 years after he died, based on stories that had been handed down. But now, I know that this was a good way to record history.
Today, if I was writing a history of the Second World War, I'd talk to people who remembered it. The war ended half a century ago, but you can still interview survivors. Memories get fragile, but historians can cross-check the different accounts to find out what's true and what's exaggerated. We now know that the Gospel writers, also relying on the spoken word, got the essentials of Jesus' life story right.
Today, it's historians, archaeologists and scientists who are gradually filling in the details. Their breakthroughs are making it easier to establish what actually happened in Jesus' world. The biggest advance was in 1947. They found ancient Jewish scrolls